when Claire moved into her new apartment. She thought it was the perfect fresh start. The building was old, with creaky wooden floors and tall windows that let in just enough light to feel cozy. But there was one thing she didn't notice at first: the mirror. It hung in the hallway, just outside her bedroom. The mirror's ornate frame was tarnished with age, and the glass was slightly warped, giving her reflection a faint, distorted quality. She thought it was charming at first. She was wrong. It started small. Claire would pass by the mirror and catch her reflection out of the corner of her eye. Sometimes, it would move just a fraction of a second too late. She'd brush her hair, and her reflection would pause, as if distracted. She'd smile, and her reflection would stare back, blank and emotionless. She told herself it was just the warped glass, just her imagination. Then one night it happened. Claire was getting ready for bed, standing in front of the mirror in her pajamas. She reached for her toothbrush, and her reflection didn't move. It just stood there, staring at her. Claire froze, her breath catching in her throat. She waved her hand, but her reflection stayed still. And then, slowly, it smiled, a cold, unnatural smile that sent chills down her spine. "You need to leave," her reflection said, its voice low and guttural, nothing like her own. "This place isn't safe." Claire stumbled back, her heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her ears. She turned off the light and ran to her room, slamming the door shut and locking it. She sat on the edge of her bed, trembling, tried to convince herself it was just stress, just exhaustion. The next day, Claire avoided the mirror. She draped a sheet over it, but by the time she got home from work, the sheet was on the floor. She tried again, pinning it tightly, but the next morning it was gone. The mirror was uncovered, its surface gleaming as if daring her to look. That night, the whispers started. At first, they were faint, like the rustle of leaves in the wind. But as the days passed, they grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to come from the mirror itself, though Claire couldn't make out the words. She started having nightmares, waking up in the middle of the night drenched in sweat. And every time, she found herself standing in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection, except it wasn't her. Its eyes were darker, its expression colder, and it was always smiling. Desperate for answers, Claire dug into the building's history. What she found made her blood run cold. Decades ago, a woman named Margaret had lived in the apartment. She was murdered by her husband, who slit her throat in front of that very mirror before taking his own life. The mirror had been hers, a family heirloom passed down through generations. But it wasn't just a mirror, it was a gateway, a portal to something dark. Claire tried to get rid of it. She pried it off the wall, but the nails wouldn't budge, as if they were fused into the plaster. She called a priest, but he refused to enter the apartment, saying the energy was too malevolent. And then, one night, the reflection spoke again. "You're running out of time," it said, its voice dripping with malice. "He's coming." Claire didn't know who he was, but the way her reflection said it filled her with dread. She packed her bags that night, determined to leave. But as she turned to go, she heard a sound, a low, guttural growl coming from the hallway. She froze, her hand on the doorknob. The growl grew louder, closer, and then she saw him. A shadowy figure stood at the end of the hallway, his face obscured but his eyes glowing faintly in the dark. He took a step forward, and Claire bolted, slamming the door behind her. She didn't look back as she ran down the stairs and out into the night. Claire never returned to the apartment, but sometimes, late at night, she swears she can still hear the whispers. And when she looks in the mirror, she sees something that isn't her.